Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about Namor, not Namor, or whatever that crap is from Wakanda Forever, but actual old school Marvel Comics Namor. One of my personal favorite characters, and for a very, very long time I have been severely disappointed in the fact that we have got so few Namor figures from Marvel Legends. I mean, going all the way back even to the Toy Biz days, we have only gotten 5 Marvel Legends 6-inch scale Namor figures. Now, we got the original one back, I believe it was Series 2 Namor from Toy Biz. Was a good figure, not as good as the modern figures, just with articulation and everything else like that, but still really, really well done. And then we got one in the Ronin Build-A-Figure wave, early Hasbro wave, that is just an absolutely awful figure in every way. Sculpt, paint, articulation, everything, just absolutely awful. And then we've gotten these 3. And that's it. In like 25 years, we've gotten 5 Namor figures. Namor, of course, being, I don't see how you can get around the fact that he is an A-list Marvel Comics character. I mean, he's one of the first Marvel Comics characters before Marvel Comics even existed, back when they were still, I believe, Timely Comics. You know, he fought with Captain America in World War II. He's the very first mutant. He's been on the X-Men, sort of. He's had the Phoenix Force. He's been an Avenger. He's a part, you know, he's a part of the Illuminati. He's one of the classic Marvel characters, and yet, if you want anything even mildly modern, these are the only 3 figures you have to choose from. And I like them all, don't get me wrong. I own all 3 of them for a reason. But I really wish we had more. And I kind of wanted to come to the determination of which one of these figures is the best for a display. For, let's say, some reason you can only have one. Which one should it be? Now, all 3 of these figures are great. We've got our Walgreens exclusive, we've got our Okoye Build-A-Figure wave, and we've got our Void Build-A-Figure wave. Obviously, this is the newest one, and they're all great figures, and they all have their pros, and you know, I like having them all, and I've got them in different displays on my shelf. I've got one in an Avengers display, I've got one in an Illuminati display, and I've got one in my Fantastic Four display, and that works for now. But which one is actually the best if you can only pick one? So, first off, we got to talk about what are the similarities between these figures, because there are a lot of similarities. And we'll start with these 2 right here, because essentially these 2 right here are the exact same figure with just a couple of small differences. Most notably, this figure is just a redo of this figure with a new head and some extra accessories, right? It's even got the same legs as this figure right here. They've just been molded in black. Same crotch piece. They added some bracers on here, added some bracers here. He's got the same trident, different head, added a belt, and that's it. It is the exact same figure as this, to the point that if you remove these arm bracers right here, the mold for these arm bracers are actually on here underneath this. Now, of course, this is the Savage Namor figure from the fantastic, by the way, Jay Lee run on the comics back in the early 90s, which I was a huge fan of that version of Namor. It's not a perfect figure, however, because despite what a lot of people believe, especially, I guess, including Hasbro, he didn't have black leggings in that comic. Jay Lee just had a very unique art style where he drew heavily shaded figures, and there is a classic cover that it looks like he's wearing black spandex over his legs because of all the shading, but he's actually not. So this actually is not comic accurate. He should have legs that look just like this, just with all the extra golden accessories and the long hair. But it's still a really good figure, don't get me wrong, I still really like it, and I'm a huge fan of Jay Lee as an artist, and specifically on his run on the Namor comic back in the early 90s. Fantastic figure right there. This figure, of course, is just like quintessential classic Namor. There's just absolutely nothing bad you can really say about this figure. I mean, I guess you could say, oh, he needs more articulation like butterfly joints or something like that. I guess you could nitpick it, but just in general, the figure itself is just great. And the thing about this figure is it actually came with two head sculpts. One that you see here, the other one is actually the head sculpt that I have on this figure, the Walgreens exclusive, which is the bearded head sculpt. Originally, this one did not come with the bearded head sculpt figure, but I thought the bearded head sculpt looked better on this figure than it did on that one, keeping this one nice and classic looking. And so I did a little head swap there and used the extra head from this figure and put it on him. Now he does come with a different trident. This is one we've seen several times before. Several different characters, including T'Challa, have used this. Odin has used this, so this has been redone. Whereas the one that comes with these two is a little bit more original and suited specifically to Namor. Other than that, these two figures are the same, and in fact, this figure has almost 70% of the parts that these two do, in that legs, arms, all the same. Head sculpt that came with this figure was one of the two head sculpts that came with this figure. But this one, because of what he's wearing, he has actual boots on, and his torso is different. His torso on this one is thinner, which does a couple of things. It makes him look not as big and bulky, but it also makes his arms look much bigger than they do on the other two figures, because it's the same arms with a different torso. So a lot of similarities between these three. I like all of them. In fact, in my displays, I've got this one here with my Illuminati display, this one is with my Invaders display, and this one is with my Fantastic Four display. I like all of them, but I'd still like more. But which ones are actually the best? Like, which is the best figure out of all of these? So I just thought I'd rank them real quick for you and give you guys my opinion. If I was to go ahead and rank these figures, I would rank them pretty much like this. But this is, of course, just my own personal opinion. Number 3 would be the Walgreens exclusive. I like him, but it's not a traditional classic look, to be honest. I mean, he has kind of worn the vest thing before, but it's not his typical look. But it's still a great figure, but it also doesn't come really with a unique trident to him, whereas these two do. Huge fan of the Jay Lee run on Namor, so I love this figure, but ultimately number one choice is going to be the Okoye wave. It's just a good classic Namor that works in an Illuminati display, an Avengers display, a Fantastic Four display, you know, like pretty much whatever you want to put this guy in, you can throw this dude into a display and he's going to be a perfect representation of Namor pretty much across the board. However, you're not going to go wrong with any of these, and right now none of these figures are particularly expensive. They can all be had for $30 or less. In fact, this guy right here I think is on Amazon right now for like 17 bucks if you like the Savage Namor look, which obviously I do. You can pick him up really cheap, so not very expensive to get a hold of any of these. Even the Walgreens exclusive goes for like $30 or less, and even less than that if you want to get him loose. Just still really disappointed that Marvel Legends hasn't done more with an A-list character, in my opinion, but oh well, we'll have to work with what we've got. So there you go, guys. That's it. That's kind of my little quick verses. Not a lot to go over here because these figures are so very similar in so many ways. But there's my ranking: 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, not just of these three figures. But let me know what you think of Namor. I'm a huge fan. I've always loved Namor since, you know, going back to reading the old Fantastic Four stuff when I was a kid and picking up old 60s and 70s issues and seeing Namor try to kidnap Sue all the time. I just always liked him as a character, and as I got older, I enjoyed him as a character even more. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of Namor? That's going to be it, guys. I appreciate you watching, and always remember to enjoy your collection.